Hello and welcome to Quartzlight, your car brochure channel, and today's Saturday special. Hello and welcome to Quartzlight. Thank you for joining us today. Quartzlight, if you don't know, we're a small car brochure channel here on YouTube, looking at car brochures 3 times a week. Today's your Saturday special, where it's a much shorter episode, just a bit of a roundup of the week really, and maybe a look ahead to the future. But anyway, if you're interested in that sort of thing, please consider subscribing. It does help the channel greatly. Before we do go and look at the brochures today, I have to say a big thank you. I put a little bit of a tweet out in Twitter the other day saying, I'm trying to grow the channel, and I was overwhelmed by the response, to be honest with you. Got around about another extra 50 subscribers in a matter of a few hours, so thank you so much for all those who've joined the channel. I really do appreciate it, and thanks for supporting the channel today. So anyway, getting back to the brochures, these are the brochures we looked at last week. Starting off on Monday with this full Triumph range celebrating 50 years of Triumph. Whenever I say celebrating 50 years of Triumph in 1973, it's kind of like sad, and I'm sure they wouldn't have known at the time, but not much more than 10 years and Triumph would be no more, so that is kind of like a little bit sad really, isn't it? Because what a great range of cars they had at this time. Almost too many cars really. And then we had a look on Wednesday at the Citroën Ami brochures, both a French and an English version. If you've missed that, or indeed if you missed the Triumph brochure, go back into the back catalogue and you'll be able to see those. But Triumph one particularly was one of my favourite brochures. Citroën Ami, kind of like one of my favourite cars, so both of them are very close. And then on Friday, of course, we tend to do a little bit of a Friday or Ford Friday, looking at a Ford every Friday. We've been kind of like concentrating on this full range Ford brochure for February 1988 recently, and we got up to the Ford Orion. Last week we looked at the Ford Escort, of course, and we kind of like picked out which one would have been the best to buy, financially. We came to the conclusion that it's probably that very lowly Escort Popular. It really was keenly priced. So let's do the similar sort of thing with the Orion. Let's compare it with the range and see which one of the Orions we would pick. And there is the Orion range. Kind of the prices are going along the bottom there, and this is indicating what price for each individual model. Now, the thing that always surprised me about the Orion was that it was a little bit more expensive than the Escorts. And if we compare it to like a Sierra and a Sierra Sapphire, they were comparatively the same price for each different level. The Orion was different. It was a more premium price over the Escort. I kind of think that they liked it that way. They like to show it as a more premium product, although really, like we often say, it's just an Escort with a boot really. But nevertheless, so a few problems with the Orion. Firstly, there is no Orion Popular. And the Escort Popular was kind of like under 6,000, so it was right down here. So the bargain priced one has been removed from that, and then also the price is a little bit more expensive for each individual one over an Escort. So for example, a 1.3 Orion is pretty much around about the same price as a 1.4 L Escort, and a 1.4 Orion is pretty much a similar sort of price as a 1.6 Escort. So you could always get something slightly better in your Escort trim, and that followed down the full range. So your Orion XR3 essentially was your Orion gear injection. But the price of an Escort XR3 was kind of like your price of an Orion gear. So it always had that premium price. And I think the XR3i kind of like stood out a bit more than the Orion gear injection, really. Although the key difference is, your Orion gear injection came standard with alloy wheels. Your XR3i didn't. So it's quite difficult really to pick a model out of these which makes the most sense, really, because I tend to think other Fords make more sense than the Orion. Even looking at the Sierra, let's look at the Sierra Sapphire, which the Orion had a boot, the Sierra Sapphire had a boot. That started off at just under £8,000. £8,000 is here. So you're really into your Orion LX. You could get a base model, not even an L, but still you could get that. If you wanted the L Sierra Sapphire, it was just over 8,000, and like I say, you're looking at like an Orion LX. So which model do I pick? I can't really say any of them, really. I did like the Orion gear injection, and it was the best model out there, but there was really no bargains. I would have tended to choose, if you're looking for a bargain car, still pick that Escort Popular. It was a great price, and if you wanted something bigger, go for a base Sierra or Sierra Sapphire. It makes far more sense than an Orion, in my opinion. Although the Orion really made sense when it first came out in Mark 1 form, because when the Sierra came out, it was quite a striking design. It took people a little while just to get used to it after the Cortina, where the Orion was like the more conservative choice, and it kind of like was like that backup really for Ford. But then Sierra did take off in the end. So let me know what you think, whether you think there is a real standout model in the Orion range, or if you would have gone for another Ford. So that really concludes this recap episode of Quarterlight, the Saturday special. Next week, we're going to be looking on Monday at the Comma van, my favourite vans, looking at the vans and the campers. So that's going to be an interesting one for me. I hope for you as well. On Wednesday, we're going to be we're going to be going all the way back to the 60s, actually, to look at the Vauxhall Victor. Always nice to compare them older brochures. There's always some nice drawings in them. And finally, for next Friday, Ford Friday, we're going to be looking at the Mark III Granada. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. Please take care. We'll see you very soon. Take care and goodbye.